now it's 2 minutes until 3. If you're here to learn about comic programming in your library and you're a librarian or other interested party, then you're in the right place. We would like to thank San Diego Public Library for inviting us. We're representing Los Angeles Public Library today, and we'll introduce ourselves in just a minute. We have some things to throw at you, so be prepared. Maybe for questions at the end, we can give you some swag here. Again, I'm a young adult librarian. My name is Corinda Humphrey, and we have 1 minute left, so we'll kill time. How many of you are librarians still in the audience? Quite a few. Teachers? We got some teachers, so somebody back there. Is anyone really new and maybe not comfortable doing comic programming at their library, or they haven't tried it before and they want to know how they can do stuff for free or low cost? Okay, then this is what we're doing right now.
We're all about it being free.
Yeah.
$2.59. I could put this one up after I push present. So, we represent Los Angeles, which goes from the Valley all the way to the Port of LA. My name is Corinda Humphrey. I'm a young adult subject specialist. I have 12 and a half years at LAPL, and I represent from USC all the way to the Port. My branch is located in a historically segregated area on historic South Central Avenue, and it is now 90% young immigrants who mostly speak Spanish and their families, so the area has changed a lot, as has the whole greater LA area. And everyone here is from a different area, so we bring a different perspective of how we can serve our community, which might be similar to one of your communities.
Oh, so this is Danica.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my slides so I don't have to be like, wait, what? Are we just introducing ourselves?
And
like
where
you
you're
did?
from.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Hi, I'm Danica Sheridan, and I am also a young adult specialist. I am the YA librarian at the Silver Lake branch of LAPL, and I did not have this wonderful data about my area, but we are very diverse. Actually, we are seemingly not, but we are in also a historic part of LA near Frogtown, emerging, cool, hip neighborhood. And yeah, we have a great dad. Next.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Siron. I think I forgot to mention, but I am the young adult librarian at the Chatsworth Branch Library, part of the Los Angeles Public Library system. I am fairly new to this, but I did hit the ground running really fast and trying to reach a lot of my community there. And I did grow up in the area, so it was fun getting reacquainted with the community, especially the young adult community. They are a fairly rambunctious bunch. So, yeah.
I'm Marissa Thompson. I'm the young adult librarian for the North Hollywood Amelia Earhart Regional Branch. Before that, I actually worked out in the Antelope Valley, so two completely different communities, but definitely diverse.
Hi, I'm Loren, Spector, and young adult librarian for LAPL. I work at the Memorial Branch, which is sort of mid-city of LA, sort of on the edge of Koreatown. So we have a large Korean population, large Latino population, very, very diverse. And my community itself is we're in the middle of a park in a neighborhood with $1 million homes with very young families. So it's just very, very interesting.
And you're representing what region as a whole?
Oh, I'm part of, my region is called the Hollywood region, since we are
I'm northeast LA.
That might be geographically too much information, but we represent so many languages and so many different types of people. I come to Comic-Con, this is probably my 15th year. I'm doing cosplay with my husband from Penny Dreadful. And so every year I come back and I give my teen volunteers the bags, the books, the arcs, the posters, the stickers. Some of them have heard of Comic-Con, so they get really excited about it. Some people are like, oh my God, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. So this year I really focused on getting some of this programming in the library. And so this is just really basic nuts and bolts right now, how to plan, promote, and host, whether it's an author, speaker, or any kind of event. And if you haven't done it before, you have to start 12 months or at least 6 months out because there's a lot that goes into even promoting a program, even if it's just small, local at your branch, and especially if you have zero money. You need to find people who are going to do things for free, or if you can get some sort of groundswell, you can get some systematic assistance with that. So about 12 months in advance, you need to book the space. If you have a special event room, if you have your own meeting room, if you have to go to the park next door, there's some sort of process that has to do with that. You want to research what your patrons want, talk to your teens, talk to your tweens. If you're in a school, you see them for more hours a day, you probably know more of who they're looking for, what they want to do. But you need to do this all really far in advance. And some people do everything by the seat of their pants, but if you really want to have a successful event, you need to do it ahead of time. So in the 6 months to 4 months before your program that you've already picked 2 dates, because you know someone is going to mess with your date, and you also need to check with all the local listings of local other conventions, like the LA Times Festival of Books was something I needed to check. Any Comic-Con in your area, you can Google local calendars for conventions, and you need to make sure you're not on the date of something like that, or you're not on the date of the SAT test in your local school, right? So you need to check a lot of different things to even determine what kind of date is going to work. And if it's a Saturday or if it's a weeknight, what you want to do, you're going to do your community assessment. Then you're going to ask every single person you know on your Facebook, all of your colleagues, people you don't know, like Lisa was telling you, she made her contacts here at Comic-Con in the Artist Alley. Hey, I'm a librarian, I'm doing this, do you want to come support me? It's a totally volunteer event, you know, I could really use your support, and I can maybe give you refreshments. And then that's where you start. You make a pitch, just like you're pitching a property. So in my case, there was a panel of all women creators, and about work done by women creators, and that we were focusing specifically on the history of women in comics, as well as diverse women in comics and representation. So that was the event that I did, and so I recruited some people, word of mouth, other people sent people to me. I had a bunch of people drop out because it was so far in advance, so then I had to recruit more people. And at the same time that I'm planning this, I'm also making a save the date flyer, and I posted that at the end. I have the pictures of that, of hey, women in comics coming to the Vernon Library, and I had the date, and I had, you know, Cecil Castellucci, who is at Comic-Con all the time. She does lots of stuff. If you're anywhere near LA, you should ask her, because she knows a lot of people, and she's happy to speak at a lot of these events. So I had her name on there. I had a person I work with, Christina Rice, who does My Little Pony comics that are published by IDW. So I put her name on there, and then I just went from there. But you have to shamelessly ask every single person you know, and everybody on your listserv, if you're on Calyx or any of the, now there's an ALA think tank on Facebook, but whatever listserv you're on, hey, who wants to come talk at the library? Because most people love to come talk about what they do if they're available, you know, and they're able to do it. So I did a pitch, I sent it out, a lot of different emails, I got a lot of feedback, and I specifically had like 5 points in my pitch, and then I sent out a letter to the other people in the departments, hey, who wants to come to the library? And then 4 months before, or 3 months before, you want to talk to your PR department if you have one, if you're in a big system and can get any support that way. Otherwise, you have to do it all yourself, right? And see what they can do for you. We don't have individual funds at our branch, but because we're part of such a large system, we do have systematic, you know, the PR department. We borrow a button maker from Candace's office at Central Library. So we do have a few things going for us that we're not totally alone, but as far as an individual branch, if you don't have rich friends of the library, you already know that you either have to pay for it yourself or it has to be for free. So if you're going to invite anyone to speak at your library, and Cecil Castellucci has a really nice blog post about this, make sure you read what they wrote. Make sure you have researched what they have to offer so that you can offer an insightful panel of questions to them, provide the questions to them in advance. I think I was about a month out when I sent them the final questions so that you can have an author talk or panel like this with something more than How did you become a whatever? Which that's important too. The teens want to know, how did you become an author? How did you become a comic artist? You know, how did you get into this? But if you want to go deeper than that, you need to read their works and make sure you know what you're talking about. And then 2 to 1 months out, I finalized my flyers. I ordered supplies for things I needed. I did have a small budget for my friends of the library to buy copies of the books that the authors wrote so I could give them away to people who participated. But the authors actually brought their own stuff. The My Little Pony IDW gave us a big box of pony swag. One of the other girls brought her self-published book. One of the other girls brought her zine. So we had a lot of stuff to give away. I also created a relationship with the local comic book store, which some of these ladies are going to talk about later. And so I did get a whole box of free comic book day old stuff. It was all SpongeBob, but I said, okay, yes, please.
So
I'll take it.
You just said giveaways. Should we give some
There
stuff
you
away?
go.
Who wants the ball?
Is that
There we go. We'll give more away later.
Is
Somebody
it,
can
is
give-
it every time we say free? that we do it?
Maybe. That sounds good.
Be prepared.
If you
So-
hear it, jump up and get
Okay.
it. We're YA librarians. We get it.
So you got to promote like crazy, put it up on a Facebook. If you have an online calendar in your library system, if your library system has an Instagram, whatever it is, tell everybody, tell them again. Hang it up all over. I hang stuff on the printer so everyone getting their print job sees it, right? You put it on the door, you put it everywhere. We also used our in-house printer. So we did have color ink. This is amazing. We have color ink, right? I'm not kidding. So we made some really nice displays for the authors coming out. I created a full bibliography. I actually had been researching women in comics and the history of like women at Disney and different things for months. So I created a really good bibliography. And then since it was also about diversity, I put things on there like Black Girl Nerds. I put some other websites on there that I thought would be useful to people who want to know more. And I had links to articles. One of the authors who came out, her name is Sarah Kuhn, and she comes to the cons too. She has a lot of articles about being a half Asian American woman writing about superheroes. So she has some books dealing with that. And then I had a lady who's been a colorist for Marvel, and she's actually from Korea, and she came and she talked about how she asked for representation of, you know, why aren't there Asians in my stuff here? And then her editors put people in. So just by asking, right, we open the door, we become inclusive, we ask people, hey, show up, tell us about what you're doing. That's the first step. So if you're doing any kind of event that's really large, you need to practice the room setup ahead of time because, you know, things happen. Also, the people who clean the carpet and the floor showed up like the night before events sometime, and then you're like, do not touch anything. So purchase snacks, make displays, and then the day of, you're gonna save the parking for your people, set up, greet your guests, you know, let them know, hey, welcome, this is what we're doing today. Have some sort of agenda. Be very inclusive of your guests in what you are doing and ask them what they would like to talk about or how they would like to represent themselves as well. And as I said, I asked my friends group and local businesses for swag.
Oh, swag!
Oh, there we go.
Anybody over here?
And we also have, like I said, a button maker so we could do buttons. So let me show you some things that we're doing. So I had a panel in March of women in comics. I had 5 panelists. It was completely free except for I spent $25 on food and $70 from the friends, from the book sale for the books. And then the comics, we gave out the Cecil Castellucci, Shade the Changing Girl, and some of the other
is a
things.
really good
Everything
comic.
was totally free.
Who wants the ball? Oh! I can't.
Other events that we're going to talk about in addition to mine, the 501st Stormtroopers. Do you guys know about the 501st? They're here. They'll come out. It may take you a while to reach a good date and time to get with them. They have a web form. You need to fill out their web form to get them to come out. If you're in Southern California, they have a lot of members here. And so we got the 501st in after 2 years of trying. So here's my panel. I made my own flyer on Canva, free, right? Save the date, save the date, save the date. And then our PR department did the shiny one with their pictures and the little LAPL logo. And we made some posters. We had color printing. We made our little posters. I have my books here on the piano, my book display, and I had 5 people come out and speak at my library, and I had about 50 people come, and it was basically less than $100. So you can do it, but you need to be able to get out there and just ask people, shamelessly, ask them, please come speak at my library, like Lisa said. Other events that we've had?
So talking about being shameless and going out there, how many of you use Twitter? Not enough of you. Y'all need to be on Twitter, because these authors here came to my library because I reached out to them on Twitter. So Toni Cliff is the New York Times bestselling author of the Delilah Dirk series from First Second, which if you've never read, it's basically a female Indiana Jones who just goes and messes stuff up, and her bumbling sidekick who's just chasing after her and making tea. And it's awesome. He was doing a book tour for his second book, Delilah Dirk and the King's Shilling, and he was only coming as far south as San Francisco. And so I tweeted at him, oh, you know, I'm so excited for your book, but it's such a bummer that you're not coming to SoCal. And he's like, you want me to come to SoCal? Yes. Cool, let me email you. Really? So I mean, it was as simple as that. Jen Wang actually came to my library as part of a partnership with our entire library system called the Summer Author Program. But I've engaged with her on Twitter as well. And then Sam Humphreys, he actually moved into the area where my library is, and he tweeted out to all of his followers, hey, isn't one of my followers a librarian at North Hollywood? Like, that's literally what he tweeted, and I was like, me. That's me. And he's like, oh, cool. Can I come do something at your library? Yes. So really, Twitter is a great way to engage with creators, because they are on there, they are engaging with their fans, and the creators really do love us. They love all of you because of what we're able to do in libraries with their books. And so all of those creators came to my library because of Twitter, because I shamelessly put out there that I love comics and they should come to my library.
And then this event, Free Comic Book Day, a lot of our branches have participated in that, so we're going to tell you about that.
So, Free Comic Book Day, I totally had all these notes for this, but can't get them on my tablet. So, we're just going to say, Free Comic Book Day, it's one of the things that I did to start learning about comics. I had heard about this, and it was so over-the-top cool that that the kids could get free comic books, and I was like, all in. Free comic books for libraries. There were no free comic books for the library. You have to buy the comic books. So, great opportunity. I'm going to meet up with my local comic book shop. I've heard so many great things. Everybody loves them. Small plug, secret headquarters in Silver Lake. But they didn't trust me. They had had a bad experience or something. They used to be a vendor or something. And there was a lot of there was just a wall. So I was like, look, let me just buy a bunch of comic books from you, and let's see how this goes. And I did. I showed up with the money, and I started calling them on a regular basis about like my collection. And the next year, they were like, so are you going to be ordering more comic books for Free Comic Book Day? I'm like, yes. And then they gave me all their extra stuff. So for summer reading program stuff. So that is the other thing is I was so frustrated with Free Comic Book Day the first year I did it that I went to WonderCon just to talk to the Diamond Comics people, and I was like, you guys don't have any posters. I would like something to put up in my library that says I'm doing this. I spent $150 on all these comic books we're gonna give away, and there's nothing. And they were like, do you want this wall? Like, it was, and the guy, he gave me a huge bag of swag, and he gave me like the half wall thing from his booth to take with me. And I still have, it's canvas, it's awesome, I just have to cover the date, but it's and I'm like, so like Marissa said, you just gotta be bold, and you can get stuff. It's amazing, and it's all about like relationships and stuff, and for us,
Be nice when you're bold.
What?
Be nice when you're bold, but be bold.
Yeah. Well, I'm pushy. I'm not sweet nice. Hey, I think this is great, but you know how you could be better? That's the kind I am. So we'll have a slide in a minute of how I actually function, because we didn't actually get any creators, and my animation program didn't turn out, but we still had a great, successful day.
So I think if we back up a couple of slides.
Yes.
I think, yes. So one of the branches actually in my region, in the Los Angeles Public Library, our system is so large that we're split into regions. So my branch is the regional branch for the area. So Pacoima is another branch that's in our region. And unfortunately, the awesome YA librarian there, Marcia, was not able to make it today. But she reached out to Diamond Distributors and was like, hey, can I have some free comic book day stuff? And can I buy some off of you with my friend's money? And they're like, sure. So a lot of these things were sent to her by the publishers. I believe the rightmost slide is actually from this past year, from 2017. So that was like all the free swag that they sent her. And sometimes they'll send you like the old stuff because they have it just lying around and they're like, well, we're not going to use it next year, so who do we send it to? Send it to the library.
So I didn't confirm this with Marcia, but I recognize that Batman swag, and that is from a Batman Day.
Batman Day, yes.
Okay.
And they're also, the publishers will also put out information packets for like Batman Day and Wonder Woman Day, and like be looking for things like that, because then that's more free swag. That's, you know,
Save
craft
it.
ideas. Save it. If you have like leftovers, store it all, hoard it all.
She did a great crossover there.
So, and then this is Studio City. It's another library in my region. It's actually just 3 miles from my branch. And again, their YA librarian, Tina, she wasn't able to make it today, but she is super awesome in that middle picture right there. And she did the same thing. She used money from the Friends group at her library to purchase from Diamond the comics for this year, and then they did button making, and then they had a gentleman come out and teach art classes. You know, things like that that you can do for Free Comic Book Day.
Okay, so this is what we did our first Free Comic Book Day. We went absolutely nuts. You can see we had a raffle every half hour during the day, and one of our clerks, that's actually a sub-clerk, but he's holding the raffle bin, and so having staff buy-in is essential. Mm-hmm. If you can take over the library if the staff is on board. And he was really into it, and mostly because it was really cool. You see that middle table is laden down with donations that we've gotten. We are very privileged to be a place where, Silver Lake is a neighborhood where a lot of creators actually live, and our library happens to be where a lot of creators create. I did not know that until a guy came with 2 trash bags full of donations, and I looked in them, and they were from all Federal Bureau of Psych, I feel bad, FBP, but Simon Oliver, and he had been writing them. He's like, well, I figured I write them here, I might as well donate them back. And it was amazing. And so all the team volunteers, what they did is we had boxes and boxes of comics that had been donated to the Friends of the Library that they didn't know what to do with. And I got all the teens in Teen Council and beyond to start stacking them up by title, and they wrapped up like small runs of things, and we gave them away as raffle prizes. And that was the adult portion. And then for the teens and tweens and kids, we bought all those titles for Free Comic Book Day swag. And then
You have to buy the comics in January for the second weekend in May. So again, 6 months ahead planning for anything is essential.
yeah, and they have it all listed. This year was much easier than last, and I think that's it. Oh, and I wanted to mention the buttons. You know, use old comics, all graphic materials to make, you know, to instant program, button machine, old comic books weeded and go.
This is what I actually did with my library last year for Free Comic Book Day. My local comic shop is Blast Off Comics. Shout out to Jed and Harley, who are awesome. And when I first started at my library, I knew I wanted to have a relationship with my local comic shop because I knew that I was going to want to buy from them. So I immediately reached out to them and said, hey, is there any way I can partner with you for Free Comic Book Day? And they were like, yeah, we do a festival every year. So as you can see, they took over the parking lot of a nearby establishment and put all these booths. They had cosplayers, areas for families. If you actually go back, Corinda, way over there in the corner, they had Alan Tudyk and Nathan Fillion, who got there right after I left. I was so sad. But it was super, super awesome. And they had all of these other creators who came and did signings and panels and things like that. But as you can see with that giant red arrow, there's me. And what was really cool was they stuck me right next to the raffle booth because the festival, the whole point of their festival was to benefit a local charity that helped children with literacy. So they put me right next to the literacy charity's raffle table. So it was like, yes. So I had people coming by the table all day asking me if I was the raffle tickets, and I was like, no, but here, take flyers for summer reading at the library, and these are all the cool comic stuff that we do at the library. So, I mean, definitely get with your local comic shop. Definitely reach out to them and see if a relationship is possible, because maybe they don't do a big outdoor festival like that, but maybe they do something smaller in the shop that you can go and have a table at, and you can give out flyers, you know, things like that. That these partnerships are here, and they know that you're doing the same work they are. You're trying to put the stories into people's hands, so they're going to want to work with you.
So for Free Comic Book Day at my library, I go the super easy, super cheap route. I get comic books. That's the one thing that is a little bit of a cost. And just so you guys know, if you talk to a local, I think you have to go through a comic book shop to order them from Diamond, but they're like 25 cents a piece. So it's not like it's a huge amount of money. But so this is what we do all the time. I basically print these blank comic strips, and you can make your own. You can find them online. They're super easy to get. Do it totally passive. All ages can participate. I have it at the reference desk. We told patrons is you draw us a comic, we'll give you a free comic. Awesome. And so anybody can participate. You can't really see some of these real well, but you know, some of them, like the one on the end, is quite abstract. I think that was a very young child that did that. But it's fun because you have the kids come up, and when they turn in something like that, you can ask them, oh, you know, what's going on in your comic strip? And so it's a nice way to get to interact with your patrons too. And then we would hang up all the comic strips too, so everybody else could enjoy them. And then they would ask what was going on. And then another thing we've done before, this was actually a couple years ago when they had the big, or maybe, I can't read the date, 16 or 2015, when they had the 75th anniversary of Batman. And they do this kind of stuff all the time if you just get on some mailing lists and things. They sent out, the cover on the left was the activity kit that they sent out. It was a PDF, 45 pages long of like ideas for programs, of coloring pages, of all sorts of stuff. And I mean, that you can keep and do Batman stuff anytime you want. So that was they do this and they send it to you for free. So that kind of stuff is definitely important, and you can use it all the time. And it came with things that were all ages too. So they had coloring sheets for older kids or adults, but also like the Lego Batman. So like coloring sheets for little kids. And then we also, really easy that day, we had coloring sheets, and we basically screened Batman movies all day. And we tried to just do the younger ones, because we wanted it to be all ages. So also super duper cheap, high turnout, very easy. And then one craft I wanted to tell you guys about, mine is on the right-hand side. It's sort of hard to tell, but those are actually magnets. And they're also very easy to make and low cost. You have to buy the glass beads that like people use for flower vases. You can get them on Amazon. I think I bought like a 5-pound bag, which will last me years, for like $10 or something. And then you can buy magnets on Amazon that they actually have some that just have a sticky back, so you don't even have to glue it on. You just stick it right on. It's like just an adhesive, so it's really easy. We used weeded comic books or manga, anything that we had around, and the kids had so much fun. They just wanted to make more and more and more of them. You just use Elmer's glue because it dries clear, so it's so easy. And I've never done this because I don't really eat or suck on Altoids, but you can get if you do, you can use the little Altoid tins, and like they can make little sets and store them in the tins, and you can give them out as gifts or things like that. So there's a lot of like fun stuff, and I know some other people are going to talk about some other crafts, but Pinterest is like
Pinterest is awesome.
I mean, that's where I find pretty much all of my ideas, but then some of them, like the magnets, I do over and over again because the kids love it and it's super easy on me and our budget.
On the left is, if you go back a slide. If you go back a slide, Corinda. There we go. On the left are decoupage comic book boxes that they made at the Pacoima branch. So, like, anytime you have a graphic novel that's been returned to you and it's damaged and you're like, oh man, I can't put this back out, shove it in a box and use it for craft supplies later. Like, your teens are going to look at it and they're going to go, you want me to take apart a book? You want me to just, like, do you see how, like, this is all, like, nasty, and would you read this? No. Okay, well, then turn it into a craft. And then by the end, they're, like, ripping it all apart, and it's awesome. And then again, we've got decoupage, comic book boxes, and magnets. That's, again, a partnership I did with my local comic shop, because your comic shop, when it receives stock, sometimes the stock is damaged. And they can't, they already bought it, and they can't really send it back, and they can't put it out, so what are they going to do with it? Send it to me for craft supplies! So that was a partnership that I had with my comic book shop, where one of the staff members at the shop actually came to the library and did the crafts and brought, like, the comic supplies. And then on the previous slide, real quick, button making! If you can convince your friends of the library group, your administrators, whoever gives you your money, if you can convince them to buy you a button-making machine, the instant program for years and years and years and years and years. Everybody loves buttons. So I would definitely recommend doing that.
So this is passive programming that I'm doing currently at the Chatsworth branch, and this wasn't in particular or in conjunction with any comic book day. Our summer reading theme this year, our summer reading challenge theme, is reading by design. So something new that we are doing at our library is including a blank comic strip for teens, tweens, children to create their own. They can use characters from books that they've read or even create their own. And I've had to reprint these sheets so many times because they're so popular that they don't want to return them to us. So it's kind of sad because we don't get to show it, but I did find a few that were up there, and these are some of the ones that our younger children have made. Next slide. More programming we've done. Star Wars Reads Day. I do apologize, I did forget when the date is, but the poster in the middle is something that I reached out to a partner or a sponsor for Star Wars Reads Day, and they sent me so many posters and bookmarks. I'm sorry, I don't have any other photos of it, but it was great. I just did a quick passive program, just had things set up with books, graphic novels, and other materials out there, out in our library, so people can pick up and read. We also did on May the 4th Be With You, Star Wars Day. We had a showing of Rogue One. Just make sure if you are showing a movie at the library, it is, the license is covered, so be sure to check, is it Movie Licensing USA? When we showed that. And other things for programming, I do like to involve STEM or STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. On the previous slide, if you see, we did May the 4th Be With You lightsaber cards. I believe I got that from Left Brain Craft Brain website. Materials were super cheap to buy, $1 straws and LED lights and the CR2032 batteries. Super simple. Kids loved it. They used different colors to make the lightsabers, and you're promoting comic books and you're also promoting STEAM, so why not, join the two together in any way possible.
So Star Wars Reads Day at the Silver Lake Library is my first foray into fandom programming because I was online to see the original Star Wars in movie theaters, and I know, I don't look old enough, but I am. I'm just super immature. So, but I was like, I could do Star Wars Reads Day, and it's been going on for about I think this year is its 4th year, maybe the 3rd year, and it is on the 2nd Saturday of October. However, they now have changed it. It's the entire month of October. And the reason they changed it is because the 501st and the Rebel Alliance and the Legions of Leia or whatever, they're too booked to show up at a lot of places. So they decided to make it a month-long thing, and then also schools can participate because it used to be just on a Saturday. It's also why International Games Day is a month-long now too, or a week-long thing. Anyway, so we had a photo booth with masks, paper masks and whatnot that we got. Again, they just give us all these free PDF resources, and you just print them out, color, stick a popsicle stick on them, and the kids love them. And we had Princess Leia bun. We had the 501st come that year, and we had like 3 different types of stormtrooper, but this is the classic stormtrooper. And he caught the bug of Star Wars origami, so he's looking up the origami in the book. So we had craft tables. We had the teen volunteers you can see there helping another teen make some buttons, and we had make your own droid out of trash. So all year long, I'm saving all kinds of weird trash. They're like, this last year, somebody made a whole suit out of those hexagon green bubble wrap things. I don't even know who's sending them to us, but every time we unroll the books, everybody knows the weird green bubble wrap is mine. We had a book display on the top, and that's how many Star Wars related items I found in the library, essentially my first year in the library. That's not even on purpose, and that is not, and that's not even after the new movies came out. So, you know, literacy and Star Wars go hand in hand. You can see I did a little cosplay myself this year. We couldn't get the 501st, so I dressed up as a Jedi fighter and had pool noodle craft. You've seen that around Pinterest a lot. You make a lightsaber out of pool noodles. The Dollar Tree. Go now. They have pool noodles. They're $1 a piece, and you just buy them out, and they don't care. And then you wrap it with duct tape, and the kids love it, and they don't get hurt. And I think that's everything up there. But I also wanted to say I went to a librarian convention, CLA, a couple of years ago, and I was super bored in the exhibit hall. And I kind of just wandered over by Penguin Random House. She looked pretty bored. We struck up a conversation. Turns out that she wants to send me stuff all the time. And so what's amazing is now I contact my Penguin Random House contact, and they'll send me books. They have a Disney department or whatever, and they'll send me swag, and it is off the hook. If you can go and be brave enough or bored enough to talk to vendors, you never know. It could lead nowhere, or it could lead to this thing where they think of you when they're like, I'm getting rid of all my YA arcs. Do you want them? And it's like 25 arcs come to my branch, and I'm like, okay.
So after this panel, or tomorrow, you go to the convention hall, if you have a badge, and you talk to the publishers. And some of them have already promised to give all of their books to a specific library on Sunday. Or on Sunday, you get in a line, and you go. If some of you don't know, they give all the books away. So check with the publishers ahead of time to know if they are giving the books away, if they're going to save them for somebody. I know the DK booth always has some kind of trivia raffle to get some of their really nice big hardcover books. So every year, this guy is carrying 50 pounds of books to my house so that I can give it to the teens at the library.
All right, who wants a free ball?
For free.
All right, I don't know.
Also, with the 501st, please do not pick May the 4th or May 25th or October 10 to have them come out. Pick a different day, and then you'll have a better result. If you pick the date that it's not during those big specific festivals, then you're going to get people who are available. But if you're trying to get it on their big dates, you're probably not going to have as good a luck. Jennifer?
So arts and crafts and more. More repurposing of weeded comics and manga. We did a Smash Book Day. The kids loved it. They were able to create their own keepsakes to commemorate their summer. I have two teen volunteers there working on QB Crafts. This is a free site where you can get printouts of different comic or manga characters, and that's something that we use to help. The more part is for displays for the branch. Yes? QB Craft? Yes, it is CUBEECRAFT. And that's one of my favorite, it's one of the most easiest things to do. You have a color printer, yay, and cardstock. Definitely you need cardstock for this, not regular paper, but cardstock you can order from your supplies if you are able to order additional supplies. And then the students can cut them out themselves and create their own favorite character. It might be easy to just pre-print and not take suggestions or requests to make it easier on yourself to print. Again, more STEAM, yay! We did light up superhero masks, and we are collaborating with the LA Makerspace. They came and put on a series of e-textiles, electronic textiles, and we used foam sheets to create these light up masks with, again, a Sierra watch battery and an LED light. You can see some of the teens that we had at the program and our parrot in the young adult area posing with my mask. Next slide. Again, more displays and more crafts, programming, because I have a teen council and teen volunteers, and I sometimes transition those projects into just programs and say, hey, let's beautify the teen area. It gets buy-in from the community, especially the young community, and they like to see how they can turn their little area into their own, so they can get themselves and their friends to come in. I have a few different artworks there too. One says, sorting books can be so hard, or whoever thought sorting books can be so hard, kind of like a manga style character. And those were done by students where I visit the local school, and they made thank you cards for us. And so they're encouraged, when they write thank you cards, to be creative. So they used graphic novels or comic characters and manga characters, some of which I really love. The manga display, old repurposed manga books, and then I just made the manga words pop out, graphic novels, something I created, and then had the teens find a place and figure out how they can make it pop out, and just more QB crafts in the area, posing here and there. We did try to do a find this person or find this character and get some swag. Yeah, and try to get some swag.
Oh, man.
So it's,
There we go. All right. They're squishy. I'm not hurting people. I hope.
Danica just really likes to throw things. Who knew librarians were so fun?
There we go.
So basically, you need to contact the publishers. Diamond Bookshelf is a resource newsletter for librarians. If you're not on there, they send out a monthly newsletter, what's hot, what's not, specifically for librarians. The Diamond distributors are here, and I know they have stuff they give out at their booth all day, so you should go down there. Contact independent comic stores, book retailers. If you're here in San Diego, you know Mysterious Galaxy does all kinds of signings with a lot of big authors all the time. Sometimes authors are willing to do like a Skype thing with your classroom or your library. I haven't personally done it. Have any of you done a Skype? But I know a lot of authors will do that for free. Danica?
Great suggestion.
So we have a few other resources. Oh, no.
No throwing it at people looking at their phones, Danica.
No, don't be too
Sorry. American Button Machines is the button machine that we have that we really like. I think it's a couple $100s for that model. It has a swivel and it has the two things that you turn and then the big handle. It's far superior than those little clunky ones with the 5 parts that you had to do, the old ones, badge a minute ones.
no,
Those
thank
are
you.
Older kids like the
No.
1-inch buttons, if you can get them.
the Star Wars Reads, there's a link for that. Free Comic Book Day, the 501st. And then I wanted to tell you about something that is unprecedented in our library system. I contacted Anime Expo since I work 4 miles south of downtown LA, and they were going to offer opportunities to apply for tickets to give away to youth groups in the area. So for my region, we got 2 applications in, accepted, and we invited people from over 7 branches, plus about 6 adults. And so we we met them there, we handed them the ticket, and they went to Anime Expo for free. It was like $2,000 of free tickets. Yay!
For free.
And so we made art. At my branch, they made art, and I made a little zine, and I sent it, and then we're making thank you letters and thank you art to send to them. So I know a lot of organizations like Comic-Con International, they have a way for professionals and educators to come, and I know even ALA, the Library Association, they would have teen groups come and do teen book advisory, like Teens Top 10. I would see youth groups on the convention floor there. So see what you can do in your local area. I know not everyone is in a major metropolitan area, but if you're anywhere to get here, Southern California, even Northern California, there's so many people that live on this coast. There's got to be something you guys can go to. There's local conventions now. Even Palm Springs has a Comic-Con now, which is in August, but you get what you can get. So there's a lot of stuff going on that you guys can do. Go online, talk to us after. We put our contact information at the beginning, if I can go back out.
And the
Does anybody
Facebook
have any
groups like Teen
questions?
Underground and all that.
Yes.
Teen.
And then this is Star Wars at my library. We had an Imperial Dignitary, a Stormtrooper, and then an X-Wing pilot who has his car modified with an R2 dome in the back. And he had come out to another local branch as well. And again, like I said, I'm in South LA. It's kind of an entertainment desert for a lot of our patrons. And so for me to offer this to them, to show them that I know what they like and I'm listening to them, that was like super huge. So any questions for us?
Does anybody have any questions?
We hope you found something useful today, or if you want to come up and ask us after for other resources.
And if you didn't get a stress ball, come
We
up
have
and
more.
we'll just hand one to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.